support for action in Syria. Tom Rogan is a blogger and a writer for The Guardian and The Week. His specialty of focus is foreign policy. Tom, thanks so much for being with us. You've written that it was a bad idea for the president to go to Congress for approval before taking military action in Syria. Now, given the most recent developments that the president now has gotten the support of some key leaders, do you still think he was wrong to take this route?
I do. I think for a number of reasons that I outlined in my piece. I mean, for a start, when we think about the power of the presidency, the executive, to use military force in limited, narrow circumstances that I think all parties would suggest this will be if it does take place. The precedence is such that the president has that authority. To weaken that authority by going to Congress unnecessarily, I think is a dangerous thing because it potentially deters future presidents from taking action beyond the confines of a partisan scope. But more than that, I think what we saw in Congress yesterday with various politicians on all sides, from Senator McCain on the more interventionist side to various Democrats who tend to be spread in terms of their opinion, but then of course Rand Paul on the non-interventionist side. Various politicians are using this situation as an opportunity to project their own political agendas beyond the strategic scope of what the US should be doing in Syria or should not be doing. And I think that's a bad thing. I think when we conduct foreign policy, what we need to have is a situation in which the president, and in certain circumstances, Iraq and Afghanistan, where major operations are being planned, act in concert, but in the best interests in the country rather than the best interests of their particular party politics.
Nevertheless, he has gone to Congress. Tomorrow we're expecting that the Senate Foreign Relations Committee will vote on a measure that would back military action, barring U.S. troops being on the ground. What happens if that passes? What is the next step in procedure?
Well, I think if that passes, which I expect it will, what we'll see is the Senate beginning to debate on the terms of that provisional motion. And then as the Senate goes forwards, probably next week, I think Senator Harry Reid, the Democratic Senate Majority Leader, will probably schedule a vote early next week. Then, of course, the House will begin to debate the issue and see if they can get something passed. But, of course, I think actually the House is going to be the key. Republicans control the House. The Republican Party is not the Republican Party of the Bush years, which was, of course, more interventionist-minded. There's a lot of skepticism there about the merits of authorizing the president to take this action, and I think it's going to be a tough sell. I actually suspect that it will get through. I think yesterday's announcement by Speaker Boehner and Eric Cantor represented some pretty significant steps, and they'll be able to drum up Republican support. But this is by no means a done deal, so it's going to be a tough fight for the administration.
All right, blogger Tom Rogan joining us from Washington. Tom, thanks so much for your insights. Be sure to stay with us on the latest.